Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really big shift we're seeing in business: outsourcing financial operations. As a company starts to take off, managing the money can sometimes get even trickier than managing the actual business. So let's look at how this strategic move is helping so many businesses scale smarter.
So let me just ask you this, and be honest. Does it ever feel like the paperwork, the invoices, the admin is all piling up way faster than your actual revenue? If you're nodding along right now, you have hit on a classic growing pain. It's that moment where all the operational drag starts to really threaten your forward momentum.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start by unpacking the hidden costs that come with growth. Then we'll introduce what smart outsourcing really is and walk through the 5 core advantages. We'll also cover some best practices on how to get it right. And finally, we'll talk about how to reframe your finances as fuel for your business, not an anchor.
Every success story has its own set of challenges, right? As a business gets bigger, the way you used to manage finances, the system that works perfectly fine before, can start to really crack under the pressure. And that reveals some pretty significant hidden costs to all that wonderful growth. And this is exactly what that pressure looks like in real life. Your internal accounting teams get hit with this tidal wave of repetitive tasks. They get so busy just trying to keep their heads above water with the day-to-day stuff that there's absolutely no time for high-level financial strategy. And all the while, the complexity and the compliance demands just keep getting bigger. It is a perfect recipe for burnout and honestly, a ton of missed opportunities.
So, what's the answer? Well, it's what we call smart outsourcing. And look, this isn't just about offloading work to someone else. It's about bringing in a strategic partner to professionalize and streamline the key functions that are slowing you down.
Smart outsourcing really stands on 2 key pillars. First up, you've got tax preparation. This is all about handing off that complex, super detail-oriented work, preparing returns, making sure you're compliant, organizing all that documentation to real specialists. Then the second pillar is accounts payable. This covers those critical but often really repetitive tasks, like processing invoices, scheduling payments to your vendors, and reconciling all those accounts. When you put them together, they create a seriously powerful operational engine.
Okay, now for the really exciting part. Once you bring these specialists on board, what actually changes? What's the real-world impact? Let's walk through the 5 core advantages that can totally transform your business.
The very first thing you'll notice almost immediately is a huge boost in operational efficiency. When you take those routine, super time-consuming tasks like invoice processing and tax prep off your team's plate, the entire financial workflow just becomes smoother, faster, and way more reliable.
And here's the key insight, right? Efficiency isn't just about doing things faster, it's about integrating them smarter. By letting specialists handle both accounts payable and tax prep, you're creating this seamless system where these different complex jobs are all managed in parallel. That holistic approach, that's what really unlocks a truly frictionless financial operation.
Let's talk about risk for a second. Financial errors aren't just an inconvenience. They can be incredibly costly. We're talking regulatory penalties or even really damaging disputes with your vendors. Using dedicated professionals dramatically reduces that risk because they bring a ton of expertise to the table.
But the real value here lies in their structured processes. Think about it. You're not just hiring an extra person. You're implementing these battle-tested methodical systems that were designed from the ground up to sniff out and eliminate errors and ensure compliance. It's basically risk management that's built right into your daily operations. Now, this one is huge. This is where the strategic shift truly happens. When your talented internal team is no longer bogged down by all that repetitive admin work, they are finally free to become what you hired them to be in the first place: strategic thinkers.
And that is the crucial pivot. Your team goes from being reactive, just trying to keep up with everything, to being proactive. They finally have the time and the mental space to focus on financial analysis, on future planning, and on contributing to the high-level decisions that actually grow the business.
So, when your financial data is managed and organized by experts, it becomes way cleaner and more accessible. And for leadership, this means you get a much clearer, real-time view of the company's financial health. And that, of course, is absolutely essential for making smart, informed decisions.
So here's the real payoff for all that clarity. With clean, visible data, you're not just managing the present anymore, you're actively looking for future opportunities. You can spot trends, you can plan for expansion, and you can make big, strategic moves with confidence instead of just guesswork.
Okay, so what happens when your business suddenly doubles in size?
Well, with a traditional in-house model, you'd probably have to scramble to double your accounting staff, which is a huge challenge in terms of hiring and overhead. With outsourcing, your financial operations can scale seamlessly right alongside your business without any of that drag.
That word right there, flexibility, that is everything. It means you get the operational power you need exactly when you need it. This lets you grow efficiently while always keeping a firm hand on the financial controls of your business, no matter how fast you're expanding. Of course, just deciding to outsource isn't quite enough. The success of this whole strategy really hinges on getting the implementation right. It's all about building a true partnership.
To make this work, execution is everything. So let's quickly walk through 4 best practices. First, you got to select experienced professionals who really understand your specific industry. That niche expertise is a huge advantage. Second, establish crystal clear financial processes from day one. Know who does what and by when to get rid of any confusion. Third, maintain open and constant communication. Treat your outsourced team like a true extension of your own, not some separate silo. And finally, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable, you have to rigorously vet their data security. Your financial information is one of your most valuable assets. Make sure it's protected by the highest possible standards.
So, let's bring it all together. By putting a strategy like this into place, you fundamentally change the role of finance in your organization. It stops being just a cost center and a source of administrative headaches, and it becomes the actual fuel for your growth engine. This final thought really says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just some temporary fix. It's a really smart, practical, long-term strategy for building an efficient, forward-looking finance department that actively supports your ambitions for growth. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. If your team was totally freed from the daily grind and armed with crystal clear financial data, what are the big, strategic goals that have been on the back burner that your business could finally unlock? Thanks for tuning in.